this week I'm actually feeling a little sick. I know, womp womp. So what did I do to distract myself from going down a WebMD rabbit hole and questioning my own mortality? Find the stupidest show on Netflix to binge. Hello and welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. So today I wanted to talk about a very silly show that I saw on Netflix called Is It Cake? It's a very silly concept for a show that literally just came out of a viral internet thing of the month in 2020. I had very low expectations for this show, and I honestly don't know if anyone else watched it. It feels like the type of show that literally no one's watching. I have not seen any conversation on social media about it. It's a lower tier Netflix show for sure, based around something that was viral only for like a second, like 2 years ago at this point. But I needed something easy and distracting to watch, and I'm going to review it. Or if you don't want to watch it, I'll just tell you how it is and what happens in it, what kind of the format is, because it's kind of tricky to translate a few second TikTok or video Twitter trend into a full format reality show with several episodes, over 30 minutes long each. I was intrigued by that element. I don't think there's that many shows that are attempting to translate an internet trend into reality TV. So I'll give you the lowdown on how the format was. Let me just get right into it. Is It Cake worth watching? Question within a question. Honestly, not necessarily, though I was pleasantly surprised by Is It Cake. Like I said, I had really low expectations for a show of this nature, but it actually ended up being pretty cute and wholesome. There were some things I really hated about it, but overall, I enjoyed it, and I think the contestants and their talents really sold it for me. I also appreciated how they approached the format. They kind of did some new things for reality TV game shows that I haven't seen been done before. So I just appreciated the experimentation that went into the format of it, because it's a very niche little concept of like taking regular objects and determining if they are cake. So if you're looking for something really easy to watch, you can give it a try. I think for me the worst parts were the host and the way that the judging format took place that I wasn't a fan of. But overall it was pretty wholesome, the way a lot of baking shows tend to be. So if you like baking shows or shows like Skin Wars and Ink Masters and shows like this that show a very specific craft in a reality TV competition format, I think you'll really enjoy Is It Cake. Or if you enjoy Food Network and like the Cupcake Wars or even like the Great British Bake Off, any of those baking shows, I think this one might be worth a try. It is very dumb though, and maybe you only need to watch a couple episodes. Maybe pick ones where you like the theme that they're doing. If you like that type of content, I'd say give it a shot. Next, let me talk a little bit about Is It Cake. I want to get into the social media trend that birthed this concept and then get into the show. So if you're not familiar with the Is It Cake viral trend, it actually happened in July of 2020. Still early pandemic times when a lot of people were stuck at home and on the internet a lot. This video went viral by Tasty. According to KnowYourMeme.com, on July 8th, BuzzFeed's Tasty posted a video simply titled These Are All Cakes. It's a compilation of realistic looking cake sculptures. These types of videos are commonplace viral media bits, but for some reason, perhaps quarantine related boredom, this one took off. There doesn't seem to be a clear reason why this particular video became huge, and KnowYourMeme.com is theorizing that it was just quarantine related boredom. But after this video went viral, the overload of memes about it came in. KnowYourMeme.com always has the best examples. A lot of iterations of popular memes with the cake theme, like the don't trust anyone, not even yourself. I specifically remember the one with the two astronauts that are like, wait, it's all cake, it always has been. There's this one on KnowYourMeme.com that's really interesting that's like the comic is cake, and it's good. It's very meta. So the gist of the memes were that people were starting to question reality and wondering if everything was cake. There's this one tweet that sort of encompasses that sentiment. The year is 2030. Bakery art is so realistic, literally anything could be cake. The uncertainty has gripped the world in fear. I go to hug my wife for comfort. She is cake. Very dramatic. I remember this was one of those like week or 2 week long trends on social media that we all went through and then promptly forgot about when the next thing arrived. Is It Cake is a show on Netflix that has 8 episodes and they're all around the 40-minute mark. Surprising, I thought it was going to be more in the 25-minute range, but it was actually longer. Wow, this show doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, which just goes to show like 20 people are going to watch this video. This show is so like under the radar that there is no Wikipedia page for it. So your guess is as good as mine. I assume it was after that viral trend in 2020 that stuff was set in motion to pitch it and then produce it. The show is hosted by Mikey Day, who is an SNL guy. I had forgotten until he referenced it at some point. I knew I had seen him before, but I didn't know where. He was not good, but I'll talk more about my opinions in the next section. It's actually a very interesting format, so let me break it down. I appreciated this show for experimenting with contestants not going home. That's something that I feel like often reality TV fans are suggesting, but it's hard to fathom how a reality TV show would work without contestants being eliminated. This show kind of merged several formats that I've specifically seen on the Food Network, I think, where people compete in groups of 3 per episode and then determine a winner from the 3 and then kind of move on to the next round. But in this show, all of the rest of the contestants that aren't competing in that episode sit and spectate and comment on the action. In the very first episode, everyone gets to compete in the first preliminary round where they bring out 5 different objects and one of them is an imposter. One of the objects is a cake. Each contestant has an iPad where they have to vote correctly for which one is cake. Whoever chooses it the fastest is the winner of the round. So we always start off with this preliminary round where we find the cake out of 5 different objects, usually centered around a theme. The person that wins that round gets to choose their 2 opponents for the episode. So not only does the winner get to choose their opponent, they get to choose first out of the 4 real objects that were there as options. They have to replicate one of those. So they get first dibs on what object they are going to make a cake out of. And then the second place, like the second fastest that got it, gets to choose next, and so on. After this preliminary round, the 3 cake artists make their cake as realistic as possible using the object they picked as reference. Eventually, they're going to show their cake among 4 real objects to 3 judges who will have to guess which one is cake. So the cake artists get to choose the 4 other real objects that they get to use as decoys for their cake, so they can kind of present the other real objects to like throw off the judges as much as they need and just try to make their cake as convincing as possible. Once they're done making their cake, they bring out the 3 celebrity judges. For this show, it was a lot of like up and coming kind of celebrity judges. No one like super huge. I think it was specifically focused on more like up-and-comers in the industry. Oh, the cake artists have 8 hours to make the cake before they show it to the judges. So once they show it to the judges have 20 seconds to guess which out of 5 options is cake. The judges have to come to a consensus and they only have one iPad where they choose their answer for which one is the cake. If a cake fools the judges, that person gets to win a chance to win money. So basically, if all 3 of the cakes fool the judges, then the judges go and taste all of the cakes and look at them up close and then determine a winner. If the judges only are fooled by 1 cake, then that person wins $5,000. But if 2 cakes or 3 cakes fool the judges have to kind of come in and be the tiebreakers and taste everything, because the cake artists are making these cakes taste good as well as look real. So they have to keep that in mind because that could elevate their ultimate placement. And whoever the judges decide is the winner of the round gets $5,000. That person has a chance to win another $5,000. They bring out 2 money-themed cakes that look pretty much identical, and they have to determine which one is cake. If they guess the right cake, then they win an extra $5,000. So the winner of an episode can win up to $10,000. If the person doesn't guess the right money cake at the end, that $5,000 actually rolls over to next episode, and the winner of the next episode gets to play for $10,000 in the money round at the very end. Lots of rounds guessing if it is cake. I mean, that is the whole premise of the show. If a cake didn't fool a judge, the contestant isn't out yet. Everyone got at least 2 chances to bake. If a contestant lost the second time they baked, they were out. They were still there though and spectating and commentating, which was kind of cool. And in the very final episode, each of the 3 finalists got to pick one of the benched bakers to assist them on their finale cake, since it was a little bit bigger. So that's kind of the general format, and I kind of was into it. I thought it was kind of fresh, and they didn't do such a like formulaic approach to these reality shows where it's like 2 people are on the bottom and 1 person goes home and the judges give a lot of feedback. It is really more about the guessing and quick guessing, because I feel like they did a lot of testing to see how far someone needed to be to actually be fooled by a cake, and the times that they get to guess are so short. It's like 15 seconds or 20 seconds. So I feel like they had to do a lot of trial and error to be like, how much is too much time for them to like always guess it? Because it's kind of hard when a cake is literally next to the real objects to be super convincing, especially with certain objects. So that was the format. Now let me get into my opinions about Is It Cake Season 1. I enjoyed this show a lot more than I expected. And I really thought it was going to be trash. I was like, I'm just going to take my sick nap while I listen vaguely to this show. It's gonna be so boring. I've tried out other Netflix shows that are kind of like this about a specific craft. Like there was one about like metal smithing or glass blowing or something. I've tried them all. I'm kind of a fan of Skin Wars, which is an older one. I kind of recommend it. RuPaul is the host, so if you want to see RuPaul be like a very different type of host than Drag Race, Skin Wars is kind of interesting. But anyway, for me, these shows are kind of hit or miss. Like they can really lose my interest fast. But this one, it was tough because the contestants honestly made the show for me. They were extremely wholesome. They were just so cute together. Like they were teasing each other a lot because they got to spectate, which I thought the artists were baking for 8 hours and the rest of the contestants just had to sit and watch. Literally a whole workday just watching and spectating this. I mean, that's kind of better than what I do for 8 hours every day. That sounds kind of fun, but it's so weird that the rest of the contestants have to literally sit there for 8 hours as well. But anyway, they had a really cute camaraderie, and they would use the spectators to ask questions like, what flavors are you making? What technique are you using? They were good commentators because they are knowledgeable about the art. You could tell they really bonded, and it must be so nice. Now I'm appreciating more when I see it, but it must be so nice for these shows where it's a niche craft to meet other people that do the same niche craft. Like now you have this big network of people you can ask for resources, or just like that understand exactly your business. So I found the contestants to be really charming, as well as, like I said, the format. Those are the things that sold it for me. However, my main complaints about the show, and my main complaint is the host, Mikey Day from SNL, and my God, he is awful. That's why I'm saying this show is kind of decent, because despite having like the worst host I've ever seen on a reality show, I still enjoyed it somewhat. The host was just so bad. Like his jokes weren't landing, and like the contestants had to like fake laugh all the time at his horrible jokes. It was very like frat boy sarcasm is what I would brand that humor, and it's just really not for me. It feels like the guy at the party making borderline offensive jokes, and you just laugh along because you're scared about how he's gonna react if you don't. That's the vibe I got from him. Just had no charisma, and I don't really remember what he does on SNL, but like it just felt very off-putting. The way he like teased the contestants felt odd. He to be clear, he didn't do anything offensive or say anything offensive. He just seems like the type that would, if he wasn't scared to get canceled, probably. I don't know. That's just my own theory and vibe that I get off of him. I don't want to like incriminate him that he was being offensive. He wasn't. He was just like teasing people in dumb ways that just didn't land. Like, it wasn't funny. That's it. That's unfortunate because there's so many great hosts and so many great people with great potential. Even so many of the guest judges they brought on could have made good candidates to be hosts. So it's like, out of all the people in Hollywood, you chose someone that has no charm, and something that might make it unbearable if you do try this show out. Another complaint I had was the judging process itself. I think the format overall of like an episode was great. I just think the judging decision, it was just a clunky process. So basically the 3 judges had one iPad to choose within 20 seconds which one is cake. It was so chaotic, and they were just yelling everything because they just didn't know which one was cake, so they would just yell anything, and the person with the iPad would always just at the end freak out and just choose something at random, and it just did not feel like reflective of their actual decision. It was just like in the moment that middle judge like picking whatever because they were getting yelled at from every direction. So I just feel like there should have been maybe like a voting system. Like maybe they all get to choose if a majority gets it. I don't know. They need to workshop the judging part of it and how that works. I just didn't find it like legitimate. It felt very randomized. Like if the judges made a serious choice or a joking choice. It just felt kind of uneven. The judges had kind of too much power, but I guess that's the point of these shows. I don't know. I did like the choices of celebrity guest judges. Like I said, they're up and coming type celebrities rather than people that are already huge. A lot of people kind of in the Netflix family for sure. Karamo came in from Queer Eye. Lonnie Love came in. She was great. Up and coming comedians. My favorite judge was Brittany Broski. I'm a peripheral, I think, fan of her content on TikTok and YouTube. I was really happy to see her there. I feel like I'm glad she's getting that exposure and opportunity. And she's really funny, so I was happy to see her there. They also had some like kind of up and coming musicians. They had King Princess on, which I think that was kind of cool. Rebecca Black, oh my god, I love Rebecca Black's music nowadays. It was just cool. A lot of kind of surprising fresh faces for me. I wish they had gone that route with the host, like someone more kind of fresh. It would have made so much sense for this show to have some sort of TikTok star, like comedian. I'm not talking like, Charlie D'Amelio TikTok stars. I'm talking like people in Brittany Broski's lane that do comedy on TikTok. What would be more perfect for a show based on an internet trend than someone that like gets the internet and is more of an internet comedian? I think that could have really elevated the show to be more impactful and maybe have more social media buzz in general than having some like kind of more crusty host that is from traditional comedy. Even someone with like Doja Cat and Lil Nas's humor, like that type of humor that's like meme-ish and trollish, and that would be so great. I wish, hopefully they recast the host for season 2, to be honest. Like, I feel so bad for this guy, Mikey Day, whatever. I'm sorry to this man, but they need someone fresh up in this show. I'm actually not a baking show person. Like, that is a whole other type of reality TV fan, I think. As much as I watch so many reality TV shows, I don't like the baking ones. I don't like Great British Bake Off. I know, it's so wholesome and cute, whatever. I think for me, baking and food shows, they just make me hungry. The thing about it that I've realized is that I can't judge along with the judges, and I like to play along with the judges. I tend to prefer shows that are visual and the judging. So Skin Wars, Lego Masters. I watch a ton of these shows that are about, you can judge the look or the dancing, even if I don't know anything about the craft, you can just play along. With food and cake shows, I can't taste it. I don't know if it's good. Great British Bake Off, it's like, great, it's a cake. Like, Mary Berry is like, yay, or whatever she says. It doesn't do it for me. So this one was interesting because it is a baking show, but it grabbed me because I can play along with the judging. I can be like, this is real or not, or this looks like cake or not. And then you do still get that little extra element of the judges tasting the cake, and the artist put a lot of thought into the taste of the cake too. So there is still that little element of food and tasting, but it's secondary to the visual aspect of the cake. So a bit of a personal preference, but something that made me realize in this, because I was like, why do I like this show about cakes and I don't like any other shows about cakes? And it's because I can play along and have fun guessing the cakes, even though you usually know which one's the cake because you see them making it the whole time. But still, it's like you get to like inspect it and be like, whoa, that looks real, that looks fake. I like that aspect, and if you don't normally like baking or food shows for that reason, then you might actually like this one. I feel bad. I feel FOMO because I hear so much about Great British Bake Off, and I have seen my fair share of it. I've tried. I have tried to get really into it. I've seen whole seasons of it. It just kind of loses me, and I can't really say like the winner deserved it or didn't. So speaking of winner deserved it, spoilers ahead for Is It Cake season 1. The winner was Andrew, which wasn't surprising. It was a pretty fair, normal win. It felt like he was a front runner early on. He won like $80,000 throughout his run on the show, through all of like the episode prizes plus the final grand prize of $50,000. It made sense. He had great craftsmanship. He fooled the judges like so many times. He got to bake a lot because he was always in the top. The winner of each episode would get guaranteed to bake the next round, basically. He was pretty much a clear front runner. I loved the second place contestants as well, April and what was her name? Hema or something? Heimu. I loved all of them so much. The bakers were so cute. There was that guy that looked like Mark Ruffalo. Michael, I don't know what his name was. The girl that looked like Blake Lively's sister. Nina did great in her round. Lots of just really cute personalities that I just wish they had a better host to like riff off, because the contestants were really funny themselves and had good quips back at Mikey. That old guy Steve, he was really like cocky. There was like the young golden child Justin, who just came out of high school. Lots of really cool personalities and amazing artists. Just the talent was so cool. What I want to know though is who was making the money cakes? Like, you got other artists back there making these realistic looking cakes that aren't competing. I wish they had made the spectators make the fake cakes for the people. That would have been a cool way to incorporate them, but that's probably too complicated. So those are my thoughts on Is It Cake on Netflix. I don't know if anyone has watched this, but if you have, let me know in the comments below what you thought. If you like the host, the contestants, the show at all, I would love to hear about it. Sorry this was a little bit more of a casual video. I am not feeling at my best. This is what I've been binging while I've been resting and trying to recover. So hope you enjoyed regardless. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out new videos twice a week about TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous on Instagram or Twitter to find out about new videos, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!